Welcome to Deep Thought, a spiritual revival. You know what? And I've talked about like automation and stuff going on business-wise on my business channel. And as people can see socially, things are going down here. You got many people talking about economic crashes. You have people talking about, preppers. They're talking about if civilization crashes and all sorts of things. You got credit crunches, relationships. Shoot, as a mentor said, the plane hasn't crashed. The plane hasn't just crashed, but we're like walking among the wreckage and everything, right? When things get really bad, people don't realize it. Now, right now, there's been a move towards secularism, like in Western culture. Basically, people ain't feeling God that the same way that they might have maybe 50 years ago. Yes, of course, we still have different sects of religion and everything. Different sects, Christian, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, African traditional religions, New Age movements, Wicca, paganism, a whole bunch of stuff, right? Yeah, we have some people, but if you really look at it, it's very secular. Millennials and then the following generation. I don't know if we have a cool name for the following generation yet, Generation Z. I don't know yet, but they're not as religious. They ain't going to church as much, right? Or some type of temple, right? In the coming times, I guarantee there's going to be some type of spiritual revival. Now, I'm not going to say it'll be like a particular path, though there could be a danger of that. And I'm going to tell you why it's a danger, right? If like maybe something new comes up. But I think people just going to start reaching back, because what happens? When you start upsetting someone's life, when things start hitting bottom, the first place people go is spirit. That's the first place. I'm going to tell you what. The overwhelming majority of people have been introduced to religion or something in their life. Some type of spiritual path. From the time they were born, they were introduced to it. If their parents didn't take them to like some type of spiritual center, their grandparents did, somebody, or they got friends around them who took them someplace, or they probably talk, stuff like that, right? As things, and people grow up, people look for answers. Things going well. It don't look like it'll fix it, because quite frankly, it don't look like our politicians have any idea. People hope they do, but deep down, you see this the same old. Regardless of what happens in these upcoming midterms, regardless if someone like Trump is impeached or he wins re-election, regardless, people's lives are getting bad. They say like the economy's great and everything, and they tout it, but other indications, not so much. As I'm recording this, I'm finding out that yet a major retail institution, Sears, is in bankruptcy protection now, right? How many people is that affected? How many people have worked there for years? And then, we've constantly had jobs being shipped out. People losing money with this whole tariff conflict. I don't know if we should call it a tariff war. So people losing out there economically. Relationships are messed up. One of my mentors said, average relationship used to last three years. Now it's doing something to last 6 months now. And it's probably less and less. I know a lot of stuff. And plus, a lot of people out here think they're in a relationship, and they either in a situationship or friends with benefit thing where one person think they're in a relationship, or, there's a lot of stuff going on out here. When people start hitting bottom, they look for answers. All of a sudden, that minister that you used to clown starts looking real good to you, because it seemed like they have an answer. Because then you want something. You want some type of thing, because it's easy to say, oh, well, we can just think our way out of it. But a lot of times you don't have all the information. In order to really think your way out of a situation, well, one, it would require that you are a very logical person. And contrary to popular belief, logic isn't common among people. Most people, male or female, are moved by their emotion, right? So you get something. Now, where I said there was a possible danger, and I do mean this, situations like this is when cults come up, or even quasi-religious political movements, like Nazism. Nazism came up when Germany was at its lowest point. And people have to remember, if they look at Nazis weren't just a political party, but there was a spiritual component to it, even an occult component to it. All right? And there was a lot of religious, spiritual symbolism involved. Right? And actually, it had a little secret. It is, because there's a secret I'm not going to share on how a large group of people could be organized into an effective force. It's a secret there. It's I'm not going to share that. It's too powerful. But just because I'm not sharing it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't know it. And so you could have a danger of like some, really dangerous figure move up and say, hey, you know what? I got the answers for you. It could be the thing that makes those dangerous, because for them to be effective, it has to be an us against them type of thing. You have to basically say, we have the right path. God favors us. God hates them. So that's where danger could come in, and especially when people are poor. Like I've said that about, I talked about universal basic income on my business channel. And one of the reasons they would have to, they'll probably end up having it on a large scale, even though a lot of people with their emotion will think, oh, no, they wouldn't do it. It's like, no, they had to have it for one reason. If you have a critical mass of people who are unemployed, and you actually have that in the United States, what they say, 100 million, something like that. It was a real large number, or unemployed or underemployed. That's a critical mass of people. All you need is that one person to say, hey, and to use some of the methods I kind of hinted to. And anybody could look it up and tell. They can tell what happened. All you need is that one person to say, hey, you know what? This is happening because, you know what? Or we didn't follow God's will. We didn't follow Allah's will. We didn't follow Shango's will. So, hey, you need to follow it. And then, boom. That's how it becomes a danger. But however it happens, and you probably get a combination of both. Some churches will be filled up again, some synagogues, some temples, some shrines. You get group of friends or something decide just to have meditation sessions or prayer groups or Bible study or something on in their homes or something. But it'll be one, because people are going to look for answers. And when people start looking for answers, they will always go back to the spiritual thing. Because you understand, one issue religions or spiritual paths addresses what happens after we die. That's one. And also it addresses how we're going to live life. And that's one thing about these things. They say, hey, this can happen. This is how you can survive all of this. So, it's something's going to happen. It depends on, I don't know when it's going to start. From all indications, it hasn't hit yet, because I think there's a certain segment of the population that still has a lot of optimism, but then you have large segments who don't. So, but whatever the case, you're going to get something. Only thing I would just hope that is for the most part positive. So, as always, something to think about. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Something to think about. Peace and blessings.